afternoon and welcome to News Around Africa with me, Esther Wilson. Kenya's health minister said on Wednesday that the US-funded quarantine center will proceed days after deadly protests erupted over the project. The US-built facility at Kenya's Laikipia Air Base was due to open last week, according to US officials, to quarantine Americans arriving from the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is battling a major Ebola outbreak. But it has been temporarily blocked by a court order and triggered protests on Monday that killed 2 people, according to a rights group. Speaking in Parliament, Health Minister Aden Duale said the center would serve both Kenyans and US nationals, dismissing fears it will be exclusive. Quarantine is not only for Americans, even Kenyans will be isolated at the facility, Duale said. Laikipia Air Base is one of the 23 quarantine isolation centers we are building, and we will not stop it, he added. Kenyans are angry their territory is being used by a foreign power in a way that has colonial undertones and over the risk of Ebola spreading. Kenya has recorded no cases of Ebola despite widespread testing of arrivals, but neighboring country, Uganda, has registered 15 cases, including 1 death. The center, about 200 kilometers, 125 miles from the capital Nairobi, was set to have 50 isolation beds and be managed by US medical staff. In his address, Duale said the government will not consult citizens on the establishment of the Ebola facilities. This epidemic does not require any consultation. We are dealing with a very abnormal situation, he said. The minister said the center comes under a 2015 agreement with the US, part of its biological threat reduction program. 9 girls suspected of planning and executing a fire that killed 16 fellow students at a Kenyan boarding school are to be held in custody for up to 21 days. A court in Naivasha on Wednesday ruled they will be remanded at a children's home to allow detectives to complete their investigations and determine whether to bring charges. The case has gripped the nation. Hezron Mogaya, a lawyer representing the girls, told the court there were no compelling reasons to detain the girls for 30 days as requested by investigators. Bogo Makaria, who is representing the families of the girls who died, welcomed the ruling and called for a thorough investigation before the case was back in court on 24th June. So during that time, it is expected by the courts and by the nation and also by us as the victim that the investigations will have concluded, he said. We will have gotten the answers that we very much want to hear, and we will have found a way forward in respect to finding justice for the victims. The fire on May 28 ripped through the Utimishi Girls' School dormitory that housed 202 students in Gilgil, near Naivasha, 90 kilometers west of the capital, Nairobi. Investigators said pupils struggled to escape the flames as the school matron failed to open an emergency door, forcing all students to scamper through a single doorway. The 9 suspects, all in their teens, were arrested following the questioning of students and a review of CCTV footage. It was revealed that the fire was started by pupils lighting a mattress at the exit of the dormitory using a matchstick and paraffin. No motive has been revealed so far for the arson attack. The results of DNA tests to determine the identities of some of the bodies that were charred beyond recognition were due to be announced on Wednesday. The United Nations General Assembly on Wednesday elected 5 countries to join the 15-member Security Council as non-permanent members. Zimbabwe was voted in unopposed for the African group and will be joined by Austria, Kyrgyzstan, Portugal, and Trinidad and Tobago for the 2-year term starting on 1st January 2027. The election marks a historic milestone for Kyrgyzstan, which will serve on the Security Council for the first time since joining the United Nations in 1992. Germany, which had lobbied hard for the seat, came third for the two-place contested by the Western European and others group. Zimbabwe will replace Somalia on the Security Council, which is the only UN body that can make legally binding decisions like imposing sanctions or authorizing the use of force. Denmark, Greece, Pakistan and Panama will also be leaving when their terms conclude at the end of 2026. Bahrain, Colombia, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Latvia and Liberia will remain on the UN body until the end of 2027, providing continuity in its work. The Security Council's 5 permanent members, Britain, China, France, Russia and the United States, have the power to veto decisions. That's all we have time for on this edition of News Around Africa by Magic TV, and I'm Esther Wilson.